Everything is all good and dandy. So, aloha. So, since I already finished with the Bob Ross article in dailies, I might as well just roam around dailies and see what should I just read. Let me just see if there's any other story related to it. Sex, Deceit, and Scandal. Yeah, this is the one I read through, and it looks like this is the only one. So, I figured I just keep the articleist who wrote it in the back burner, Austin Ramsey, and probably cover on what other articles he actually talked about, if they're interesting in the moment. So this one's, yeah, an article that he has published, his latest one, but there's only 2 total, and his last one was actually an opinion piece. The horror movie that predicted Trump's bunker fiasco. July 18, 2020. So, yeah, around a year he created his opinion piece, and this was judging the photo had to deal with the quick dispersal of a protest in Lafayette Square, which is around the yard of the White House. So pretty much there is that controversy over the dispersal of them, and this controversial picture of him holding an upside down Bible and posing. Other things like before and after. But yeah, this is opinion piece, so I just keep this in back burner. I will read pretty much just this bio under his page. Austin Ramsey, writer and executive producer. Austin Ramsey was a speechwriter in Washington, D.C. prior to his career as a screenwriter. He has written for and been a senior advisor for Secretary of Defense Robert Gates, General David Patrice, and Secretary of Homeland Security Jen Johnson. In those roles, he traveled to more than 36 countries on behalf of the U.S. government and spent a year in Kabul, Afghanistan, where he ran the commanding general's writing team at the peak of war. After leaving the Pentagon, Austin wrote and produced the film Midnighters, a taut, complex psychological thriller that IFC released in 2018. Later that year, he was selected by the Tracking Board as one of Hollywood's top new writers. Austin infuses his unique insights working at the highest level of American government into the disturbing character study that dwells at the heart of the current occupant. That probably gives you more reason to read any opinion pieces he has that's related to the United States government and many people, agents, politicians around that. Other than that, I'll probably just peruse through it. We'll see. I'm going to keep that in the side right now. Other than that, I'm just going to go to the homepage and see what's in the uppity up. Looks like the category is under here somewhat. Like Happy Father's Day, sure, but there's also Gimme At. The Vicious Gay Greek Army that got cancelled by his... okay, the picture looks a bit strange. Well. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to just... check it to see if there's anything obscene here. Oh god. Adult Star leaks at Linux. Why sex ed should include porn? Okay, but today's Christ. Okay, I hit a members only tab, so yeah, it looks like a few of these are cover under membership. So, oh well. Besides that, let me look at what's at the top of search. What your dad actually wants to drink on Father's Day. Yeah, there's that. Happening now. Download podcasts, politics, crime, gaming, COVID-19, half full U.S. news. It's got travel. All right. There's also a thing called cheat sheet. So let me see what's up with that. Okay. Skip through. No, let me go through cheat sheets. Wishes a happy Father's Day to the losers of the world. Argument allegedly forced woman to drive in 2 miles after killing 3. Okay, I wonder how this is under a cheat sheet. Alrighty. I think the best thing we could just do is just look into U.S. news and then travel. Tiger King zoo owner pleads guilty to roughing up official. Don't be a good Samaritan unless you know what you're doing. This is not an opinion piece. So, let me actually look around and see what's on LPO. This is under U.S. news, so it's related to that. Other than that, I got that in the back burner. Travel. Oh my god, I want the house. Ramsey Park, NYC. Okay, the beautiful library in the town that never asked for it. Alright. I'm not gonna read that title. Perfect. How not? No, how not to be a jackass in the outdoors this summer. This remote island in Africa is Spain's best kept. Okay, nah. It's just big clickbait. New York City has a shiny new attraction, and so I'm not gonna say it there. Oh my god. This one just has a freaking swear word. Oh well. Everything, I just have these 2 options. I'm just gonna talk about this opinion piece, and then I'm gonna talk about this article. Don't be a good Samaritan unless you know what you're doing. So, the horror movie that predicted Trump's bunker fiasco, an opinion piece by the guy we read through the Bob Ross article from. This is a year ago, so I wonder what his opinion is now. Let me actually skim through it to see how long it is. Alrighty. Alton Ramsey's worked as a speechwriter in the Bush and Obama administrations. Now he's a screenwriter. And Trump just ruined his new Hulu horror movie, The Current Occupant. So he worked as a speechwriter. Now he's a screenwriter. I had to use there. Alrighty. Like so many before me, I just recently trumped by Trump. I'm not the first, and certainly won't be the last, but I think I can at least lay claim to one novelty. He spoiled my movie. Okay, I think that's going to be related to the movie, which I don't want to cover. So, let me peruse on what I'm going to talk about. Okay, this is good. So there Trump was, in all his raging incompetence, stomping through Lafayette Square and looking every bit like a modern-day equivalent of the 19th century carnival barker, a snake oil salesman who somehow reeled in the ultimate white whale, the American electorate, or at least a subsection thereof. But to steal a line from The Dark Knight, he's the dog who someone caught the car, and that was about as far as his plan ever went, which was painfully obvious as his lackeys awkwardly miled about the church while he fumbled with the Bible. Bible too big, hands too small? Question mark? Unquote. Not end quote, but commas. Okay. Okay, sure. I was just talking about show. Okay. In most White Houses, the sentiment sums up an article of faith in the presidency. The power and responsibility inherent in the office inevitably changes a person. Small men have become great men and vice versa, regardless of which way the pendulum swings, though the salient point is change. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's all for Trump. He's the same guy he's always been, and the same one he's always be, which is great for your casting. Yeah. A long-running network comedy where the characters never learn or grow at the hilarious formulas only affect the rest of the cast, but not so much when it's the leader of the free world on whose shoulders rest the fates of millions. Yeah, talk about a real life horror show. That's a bit about it because, yeah, he actually does talk about his show and how it equates to that along with his opinions. But it does talk about the general tone that he's expressing with President Trump back in July 18th. So, yeah, around the time when this incident happens. So, yeah. And that's pretty much it, the two articles. But yeah, Austin's Ramsey's article on Bob Ross is just fascinating. So yeah, I do look forward for what other articles he actually writes. Other than that, that is for Austin Ramsey. And now we'll just go through this article and just finish it up as much as I can. I'm not going to continue it, so yeah, I'm just going to state that forward for now. Don't be a good Samaritan unless you know what you're doing. By starting tips, the golden rule: do not harm. It's not just for doctors; it also applies to innocent passers-by who stroll down the street and see someone choking on a hot dog. This is under the disinformation, which articles is just related to this. We need nothing short for new Moscow rules to wrangle Putin. Republicans now want to audit. Yeah. So, the categories are a bit confusing because I'm trying to wonder if in the categories under disinformation or by standard tips, but who knows. This is from Judith Madloff. June 19, 2021. So, yes, yesterday. Was published later. Oh, no. It was updated like around 3 hours when it was published. But yeah. Alrighty. You got a picture of pepper spray and stuff. So, yeah. I teach correspondents how to respond if a colleague is tear gassed or shot. A recent shopping expedition in Manhattan convinced me that everyone, not just a frontline reporter, needs those extreme first aid skills as well. A violent crime rate is hitting big cities, and I happened to stumble into the latest and was caught in a fog of pepper spray. Some extremely well-meaning bystanders wanted to help, but they actually risk making things worse. I'm sharing my best tips on how not to respond in case you chance upon a victim of mace, its cousin bear spray, or worse. So now it's going to talk about specifically how to handle a situation where pepper spray is being used, even if in your not the attackee or the defendee, you're the bystander and aid, the good Samaritan. So yeah, I'm gonna switch voices so I can practice on my voice. The golden rule: do not harm is not just for doctors, it also applies to innocent bystanders who stroll down the street and see someone choking on a hot dog or hit by a bullet in an urban homicide spiking these days. By all means, everyone should be trained to administer first aid properly, but if you aren't, call 911 and wait for the medics to arrive. Don't copy something you saw in a cop show. I'm gonna interject with that. Call 911 regardless, and then apply first aid or do whatever, because it's all about timing and getting the proper resources, the proper experts, people who are well trained, well experienced, like first responders. Recall, cops are first responders along with EMTs, firefighters, and such. Timing is very crucial, so regardless of what occurs, call 911. But the best way is, if you're in the crowded area, tell someone to call 911, because since timing is everything, yes, apply first aid in order to help is a crucial thing. That's why it's good to have a bunch of people helping out. So that would be the case. If not, the first step, if you're not able to do both, is just call 911 first. Be holding the line, either put in speaker and such, so they can follow you and such. And then do whatever you can. If the situation requires it. The person also points the example of choking in a hot dog, which, there's really no excuse but 911. But I figure this is not, entire gospel. This is just an introduction speech on what has occurred. Other than who? In a cop show? Well, a cop show, it's things with cop shows is they don't explain much of the procedures due to it consider a bit boring to viewers, which it's not boring. It's just part of the daily interest of some people might like, some people don't. It is part of the job. It's like people talking about times, like for cops always looking at their PowerPoints, doing training, learning procedures and stuff, or paperwork, definitely paperwork, stuff that is just part of the mundane. And people actually sort of like that, because some people want to understand what is the true life going on of people and what they're going through, especially if you want to pursue a career. That's a good reason for these training videos that a bunch of people have been learning for historical and professional reasons, or for edutainment. Alright. Here's what happened to me. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I wanted to get KN95 mask and a mascara at the Bliss Beauty Supply on Broadway. I like to support my neighborhood stores, but it was one of the few that stayed open during the spring lockdown, helping those of us with a ingrown pedicures and split ends to remain reasonable grown for La Zoom. Figures just as Zoom web calls. La Zoom? Unless, yeah, I'm just thinking it through because maybe it's just actually a place. Other than whom? Yeah. Waiting in line for the cashier, I vaguely noticed two young women in the wig department. An instant later, they ran past with $250 worth of stolen hair and blasted me with pepper spray. Thief, call for the police. Thief, call the police. The saleswoman hollered to me as he fell to our knees, blinded and gasping. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Because what is it? It's not just theft, but also part of an assault of a bystander. For anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of being peppered, the chemical capsaicin makes your skin, eyes, and lungs feel like they're on fire. So does bear spray, a favorite weapon of the Capitol rioters. That's because they've derived from Chile's. I rasped at the saleswoman to get out fast. She seemed frozen and she was staggered out the door, retching and tearing off our contaminated face masks. Yep, when it comes to pretty much chemicals, it's just to get rid of any apparel that has been contaminated. Obviously, this is a new phenomenon that a lot of people have to understand, that your face mask is a daily apparel everybody has to wear, and it can easily be contaminated, or it's a garment that you must always be aware of every time. Bear spray? I didn't know the Capitol writers use them. But I take it that when it comes to pepper spray and bear spray, they're sold on separate. And when it comes to some restrictions with both of them, sometimes some stores don't do that, even though they can be very deadly. And other than that, pretty much bear spray is pretty much a very, very strong pepper spray for bears to shoot in their eyes so they could just run away. I figure there's also some chemicals that's also pretty reactionary for animals, but maybe it's just pretty strong for all things that are victim. Definitely humans. On the street, he struggled to breathe. As a see, then things got a bit more complicated. Water, I wheels to no one in particular. A good Samaritan offered me milk instead. I saw someone do that on TV, he said. He must have heard the myth of milk calms seared eyes. I've heard that milk thing at demonstrations around the world. Take my word, don't do dairy. Okay. It's not a myth. It actually is true due to how milk does do that when it comes to any spicy agents and stuff like that. I could say in the benefit of the doubt that it doesn't work for all organisms. Hell, it can even happen just to only humans due to how our bodies react. And also, one thing to also be aware, and I was going to put that, is that any other liquids you put, like soda or alcohol, can make it very, very deadly. Whatever type of liquid you actually put is concern. Well, yeah, kudos. The person knew some information actually was putting in it. It's better than nothing. Alright. You have to quickly flush the pepper from your eyes and skin, otherwise it will linger and burn. You can't you but you can't pour anything on your face. Milk, for example, has bacteria and lactic acid that can irritate even more. That is when it comes to pouring. But the point of putting liquid around the surface is to wipe it. Of course, you can't simply just pour milk and be done for it. You just have to use it, catch all of the contaminations, and then wipe it. So there's that. Yeah, I knew the guy was trying to help, but I swatted the carton away, only to be handed a seltzer. Here's another piece of advice. Don't douse contaminated eyes with carbonated beverages. In fact, you should never put fizzy drinks into your eyes, period. That can cause severe ocular damage. Yeah, that's actually true. But the fizziness causing ocular damage, it is just referring to a liquid chemical that lingers around, and it creates personal damage due to it being lingering and trapping some contaminants and stuff like that. It's not really the fizziness or the carbonation in sodic beverages. It's just the stickiness of beverages like any other such. A woman offered to splash still water at my eyes. Yes, that's the right thing, but not from a bottle that's already open and half drunk. Half drank. It's drunk, not drank. I would have put drank. During a pandemic, don't take chances with strangers' saliva. Yeah, that is true when it comes to, things that are contaminated and such, but I figure with such in a hurry and all, you can't really be that picky. And, using other things related to the drink. And also to, flush it. Yeah, you can, but you need a device like a sink that has a huge high pressure instead of just water, because you're just going to pour it in that case. So yeah. Okay. Finally, someone got me a sealed Poland Spring. Through burly tears, I saw two cops hold up. One took statements while the other mansplained. Lady, don't use water, he lectured. I've been in a lot of protests. Their talk isn't. It doesn't work. There's talk, it doesn't work. Okay, yeah, this seems like a personal issue. But this goes to show that the person who's trying to help themselves and the person who's doing statements, it can be a bit of a anxious situation. Talk. I want to scream. By whom? Didn't you have the first-hand experience? Okay, since I only had 2 minutes, I'm just going to peruse and let me read and other stuff. Maybe right at the end. Yeah, I'm just gonna read through that. These are a lot of do nots. One thing, if a finger gets severed, don't put it directly onto the ice. That will damage the flesh. Besides, the finger is not an oyster. Instead, put the half digit in a Ziploc bag surrounded by ice on the outside. Yeah, that's pretty much true. But Ziploc bag, not from the brand. I just want to point this out that Ziploc bag is, it doesn't have to be just a brand. It has to just be a bag that can be concealed very tightly so it will not fall out. And outside will be surrounding around it. So yeah. Because what is it? For a limb that you hoping to get attached and small like a finger, you have 24 hours to attach it. If not, it's gone. And for one that's with ice and stuff, you have around, I believe, 72 hours. But that is what I know years ago when I heard about it. I don't know if there's anything recent because that's something to be aware of. But someone can let me know. In the immortal words of the German poet John Wolfgang von Goethe, there's nothing more frightening than arrogance in action. Sign up for the first aid course today. And it sadly has no link. Well, otherwise, I was actually able to get some practice. So, yeah, thanks, Judith Madloff. Other who, that is pretty much for today. So aloha.